It's breakout time for three players on this Sri Lanka tour. And sometimes when you don't have the big players around, that is the advantage. That you look at these potential breakout players and say, okay, I'll give you every single game. Now show me what you can do. Can you win me one game on your own? So there are some very interesting players in this side. None more interesting, just given his story, his background, where he's come from, than Varun Chakravarti. The last year has not been an easy one for Chakravarti. First, the shoulder injury, couldn't go on the tour with India. Then the knee injury. Look, he comes from a very different background from everybody else. As a 19, 20, 21-year-old, didn't go through the same fitness drills, didn't have the same physios and trainers around him. So we have to assume with Chakravarti that that is what his body can do. Then there's a little slow in the field, not much with the bat. What does he do with the ball? And that is why I was very keen to see what he was doing at KKR. I remember speaking to Brendan McCullum right here on Cricbuzz in conversation, and he talked about the fact that Chakravarti was now, he didn't use those many words, was actually Kolkata's number one spinner. You notice that he started bowling the difficult overs. You notice that they started holding him back for when specific batsmen were coming. But I was very impressed with the length that he was bowling. He wasn't giving away too many loose balls. And people were starting to say, okay, let's play out his 4 overs. I don't think outside of the IPL, not a lot of people know enough about Chakravarti. So if he can bamboozle Sri Lanka or hold his own against Sri Lanka, I think there's a lot that you can expect from him. He might well be a very strong contender for the T20 World Cup. So those 3 T20s, keep an eye out for his fitness levels and see if batsmen are reading him. It's not the toughest opposition he is up against, so you've got to keep that in mind. But Chakravarti this could be a breakout series for Chakravarti, as it could for Prithvi Shaw. Far too much turbulence around his life. Again, we talked to him on Cricbuzz in conversation. I got the feeling there is someone who's aware that he's played around with his talent a little too much. I quite liked what he did at Delhi. His strike rate is 150, so he's going for it. He can really give you that start. He'll look at his numbers and say an average of 25 is not good enough for someone of his ability. If he can make that average 32, 33, that's enough. You don't have to make that average 40. If he can, wow. But if he can make that average 32, 33, start delivering 50s, 60s a little more consistently, because with his style, he will fail the odd game. Then he just gives that poof at the start that you need. So his temperament, and under Rahul Dravid, we'll be able to see whether he has the fight, the stomach, the ability. So look for Prithvi Shaw, both in the 50-over game, but especially to see if he mounts a challenge, because there is elder brother at the other end who's coming back in form that we talked about on another blog in Shikhar Dhawan. And the one person I really want to talk about, and I know a lot of you have criticized me on commentary during the IPL that we all have a soft corner for Sanju Samson, but because of the circumstances, this being a different India side with the main side away, I think a Sanju Samson can get 6 games in Sri Lanka. And this is his opportunity, because far too often you look at Sanju Samson and say there is no reason he should not be playing for India. You look what he does for Rajasthan. I know he goes a little up and down. When he's up, he wins matches for you. So I'd like to see him get 6 games here, but I'd like to see him seal his spot, because it's been frustrating sometimes watching Sanju, but I just get the feeling with the captaincy of Rajasthan he's now a senior player, he's seen a few summers, that I think you can expect a little bit more from him. Remember too that he is ambitious, and that number 4 slot that we talked about has so many contenders. Shreyas Iyer has been excellent in the opportunities that he has got. Ishan Kishan has got a spot at that number. Plus, he's a left-hander, so that might be a factor. So he's got a lot of competition, but he must go out there saying, yes, in this case, I'm probably the number 1 keeper batsman in this side, but I want to be a pure batsman at number 4. But for that, he's got to string together scores. He doesn't have to worry about his strike rate at all. You saw just before the IPL was called off that you could see he was starting to play the bigger innings, and his choice of shots was getting better. He was allowing himself 6, 7, 8, 10 balls sometimes. So a very encouraging sign there. If we can see that, wow, he is such an exciting player. So these are the 3 who you should watch carefully, but for whom this could be a breakout series. So we're looking Varun Chakravarti, Prithvi Shaw, and Sanju Samson.